Good evening, everybody. We are back to Big Men on Campus, and we are live. Week 13 Rivalry College Football Preview Podcast. It's Thanksgiving Eve. My name is Jeff. They call me the Big Men on Campus. Joined as always with my co-host, Ryan D'Amico. Ryan, food, fun, family, football, it's here. We got a lot of big games going on Saturday and Friday. A big slate. We're here to break it all down. How you doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Doing real well. Yeah, like you said, Thanksgiving Eve, big day tomorrow for pretty much everyone. So I hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving. I'll start off the show by saying that. I hope all of you have a good day tomorrow. But let's start with a good night tonight and have fun and have a good time breaking down the, like you said, the rivalry week card. We got games. We got a game tomorrow. We got games Friday, a nice slate Friday, and then obviously your normal slate of games on Saturday. So it should be a good time. Got a good guest tonight. So
yeah, as always, we have a guy that's been very, integral to the podcast. He's been on plenty this year, probably about 4 or 5 times around this year so far. He's probably one of our favorite guests. He's from DonnieRightside.com. Donnie Rightside, happy Thanksgiving. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, same to you guys. Hope you guys have a good holiday with the family over there, getting some good health and certainly some good paychecks through gambling. Jeff and Ryan, thanks again for having me on the show tonight.
Yeah, as always, man. Thank you for coming on. We got a lot to do here. I didn't even get my pen and pad, Ryan. I got to go grab that here. I didn't even grab it. I got it over at my computer. But shout out to everyone out there listening. I do appreciate it. Whether you're out there for the first time, you're an avid listener to the show, we appreciate it. I know Trey, he's on there already. He's ready to go. Ohio State, Michigan, we'll talk about that a little bit later. If you're new, Ryan, you and I, last 2 weeks, had a good little run, 6-2 with our plays of the week.
Yeah.
We will continue to try to, bang them out. What games are you looking at today, Ryan?
Yeah, 2 games that I am looking at. One is like we talk about rivalry week is a big rivalry. We're going to look at the Apple Cup, and another one is kind of just, I don't want to say obscure, but an ACC game that we'll take a look at, Syracuse and Pittsburgh. So those would be the 2 games that I'm going to look at.
Well, without further ado, let's jump into it here because we got a lot to do. And if most of you guys know the premise. We'll go through each game. Most of these games are sent in by listeners. The rest are just our best bets of the week. And Donnie even threw in a game this week. And Donnie, you and I think are thinking on the same wavelength. So we'll get into that as well. A lot to do. Let's get into it here. First game. Now, I'll try to cover the Friday games and then the Saturday games, but we'll just try to make sure we give out the times and when they're going. So let's jump into it here. First one, Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern. You got Louisiana Tech minus 13.5 against Southern Miss. Over-under is 77. Big question. Donnie writes, I know you are a guy that you know these teams well. I know these teams well. This La Tech team, Ryan, we've talked about them. They've been a cover machine this year. Covered 6 straight overall. They're 5-1 on the road this year, ATS, and 8-3 overall. So they have gotten to the number a lot. I know out in Vegas and offshore, sharps have been hammering La Tech a lot of the time. And, Ryan, they're covering big numbers. They're covering 20, 21. They're getting the job done. The big question for Southern Miss, and I think it's important, will Nick Mullins play? Nick Mullins has been, and look, Donnie, I know you and I have joked about it. You don't know what to believe with this coaching staff, if he's going to play or not. They've been extremely cryptic on if he's going to play. They say he's going to play, and then he doesn't play a snap, Ryan. Last week against North Texas, he was out practicing. Everyone said he was going to play, and then kid didn't play a snap. So if he plays, it's integral because Southern Miss is a totally different team with him as quarterback. Over Keon Howard, the kid that's been playing, Keon Howard, a true freshman. Yeah, 9 turnovers in 2 games. He has really struggled. 9 turnovers is a lot in 4 or 5 games, let alone 2. They need Mullins in there. If he's not in there, they're going to get whitewashed in this game. You look at this team defensively, they've really struggled, giving up 39 points a game over the last 3 games, and they have been awful against the spread. They failed to cover in 7 straight games. Ryan Higgins has been great. It's a shame he goes to Ryan. I don't know. I know I say this up, but he actually kind of looks like you a little bit. He's a bigger guy, has red hair.
Okay.
He kind of has your look to him, but he might be your long lost twin, maybe. But the kid has played great. If he didn't go to Louisiana Tech, he would probably be a lot more well known. This kid has been great. He's thrown for over 400 yards 4 times this year. 34 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. Been extremely efficient. They love to run around and throw the football. I'm going to bank on Mullins not playing. I really am. I don't think he plays in this game. Even if he does, I think La Tech is just a way better team. I'm going to go with La Tech here, minus the 13.5. Donnie Wrightside, any thoughts on this one?
A couple quick ones here. Nick Mullins, I mean, we've talked before the game the last 2 weeks with Old Dominion and also last week at North Texas. Comes out for warm-ups, warming up, doesn't play both of those games. Now, however, a little bit different bit of information came out on Sunday. Nick Mullins did practice and was cleared to practice. But as you know, Jeff, that means absolutely nothing in college football. For all we know, that could just be a smokescreen. 2 weeks ago, the backup quarterback was filmed at practice talking to reporters saying Nick Mullins absolutely will start at Old Dominion. We're happy to have him back. He looks healthy to go. But obviously, that was a smokescreen. The other thing that would be a little bit leery of, Jeff, which you might also, maybe a first-half wager might be the best way to go. Number one, Mullins going to be rusty if he gets out there. If he's been that shaken up by a concussion the past 2 weeks, he obviously isn't doing film work. He obviously isn't practicing. He's going to be rusty in the last game of the year, just worrying about will he get injured again in one of his last college football games. Louisiana Tech, Jeff, on the other hand, does have the conference wrapped up. Do they put it on cruise control in the second half and step away from it? Because in the first half, Jeff, they were pedal to the metal. 2-3 touchdowns in the first quarter is usually anticipated, especially with the way Southern Miss has played defense the last 2 weeks. We're not talking juggernauts here. Charlotte put up 38, Old Dominion 51, and North Texas, which is 118th in the country in total offense, put up 29 points on them. I don't trust Southern Miss anyway, but Louisiana Tech might be a better first-half read than a full-game read just based on the game scenario.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Look, La Tech, again, not a great defensive team either. So both these teams do struggle on the defensive. I'm just not sure Southern Miss is very good. I mean, to be honest.
Let's think about last year. Wasn't this team in their conference championship
They were.
game?
Yes, they were
If
very
I
good.
remember that correctly, a lot of people high on them to win that game and cover and whatnot.
Got rolled.
And a lot of people thought that they would. Yeah, they did get rolled. And a lot of people thought coming back this year with Mullins and with kind of the relatively same team,
Ito Smith,
that they would kind of flourish and have a big year. And obviously, that's not been the case. 5-6, and the number we care about, ATS, they're 2-9 on the year. Haven't covered a game at home all year. So, I mean, we've talked a lot early in this breakdown about Mullins. Honestly, I don't give a shit whether he's playing or not.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. I mean, his team's just not good.
Yeah.
I mean, this team is just. I mean, he helps obviously,
sure.
But this team has a losing record on the season and doesn't cover regardless whether he's in the game or he's not in the game. Now you have to take on, and Donnie makes a good point as far as La Tech having the conference wrapped up. That is true, but I just think the way this La Tech team just has things dialed in offensively, and I see a Southern Miss team that gives up 30 points per game on the year. That is enough for me. I'd side with La Tech. I like where Donnie's head's at as far as the first half played for sure, simply because a few of the things he talked about, plus the fact that they're not a good defensive team. So with bad defensive teams, that back door is wide open. So
yeah, but let's point out, I mean, they're not laying 21.5.
No,
here.
it's a nice
it's a manageable number,
right,
especially
sure,
for them.
It's a nice number, absolutely. So I would side with La Tech. I would side with them full game, and I would side with them first half as well. So.
Yeah,
I think it does actually boil down to Mullins, because Mullins, they're built on the spread offense, very good wide receivers, obviously with a good running back. If Mullins is out there, they can spread it around. I know I like to say if you've watched the last 2 games, which 99% of the country hasn't watched Southern Miss the last 2 games, with the quarterback that they have now, he is a one-read player. If the guy's not open, he's running with the football. That's why they've been terrible. If Mullins plays in this one, that is a 77-point line. They would get. You can easily see 45 to 50 first-half points if both of these quarterbacks are playing in this game.
Yeah, that's one thing I will point out. There's a lot of games this week where you have to see what's going on with quarterbacks and things like that. Like Trevor Knight, I've heard he's going to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
In that game.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to watch.
You have to stay abreast of all that stuff, yeah.
If Nick Mullins plays, I think the over is the play in this game because
both easy.
Yeah, but both these teams can't stop each other, and you would imagine there'd be a lot of run and gun. I mean, you got to remember, Southern Miss is eligible for a bowl with a win here, so maybe Mullins kind of guts it out and plays. I don't know.
One thing that worries me about Southern Miss too, guys, is in 5 of the last 7 games they've turned the ball over 3 times or more. So that's a little concerning to me as well. So
yeah, I think we all agree though. La Tech probably will play in this one. They 13 points is not big for them. They can cover that in a drive or two. So we'll go with La Tech in this one as the first play. It's a strong play. I wouldn't say it's a great, awesome play, but it's a good one. Next one, Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern. This game was set in by our friend Donnie Rarig, Ryan.
I thought you were going to say Donnie Wright's.
Yeah, I was like, all right, it sounded like
No, we got another Donnie R. Donnie, a good listener.
He's got to be hurting after that shellacking.
Yeah, West Virginia, yeah. A longtime follower of ours, great guy. He wants us to take a look at a little Maction. Western Michigan minus 8.5 against Toledo, over under 69.5. This game is pretty important, isn't it? It's it's to go to the MAC championship to face Ohio, and it's a shame that this game isn't the final because I think these are the two best teams. But let's see what it's sitting for. Also, you have to remember Western Michigan, one of only 2 undefeated teams in the country. They're waiting and playing for a Power 6 bowl game, or a New Year's 6 bowl game. I'm sorry. They're laying 8.5 over under 69.5. Western Michigan, we talked about them. Very good against the spread. They've gotten to the money a lot over the last couple years. 26-11 over the last 37. Toledo, though, they've been a pretty good road team. Also, you look at what they've done. They've covered 10 of 15 on the road. I think. To be honest, I think Western Michigan, we know. I mean, they're very efficient. They can score a lot of points. They're very good at home. Defensively, they've been good. But you look at Logan Woodside, you look at this offense. Toledo, 7th in the country in passing offense, 71%, I think they're both above 70% as far as completion percentage. 2 very efficient quarterbacks. You look at the last 2 years, 35-30, 20-19. Both these games close to the vest. This is short and sweet for me. I think Toledo hangs around here. I think Western Michigan will win, but I think this is like a 34-31, 38-33, something like that. I think it's within a touchdown. I think given Toledo, 9 points, even if it goes with 10, I think that's kind of dangerous. I think Toledo will hang around. They're never really out of a game. Kareem Hunt is fantastic. I'm going to side with Toledo here, actually. I like what I've seen out of them. Ryan, I'm going to start with you here. Short and sweet. What do you like in this game? Do you go with Western Michigan? I think they win.
Difference for me in this game, Jeff, the defensive side of the football. Toledo, solid. They're giving up 23 points per game. But Western Michigan, I talked about it kind of all year on this show. The big thing for me, which is I think the main reason, I was talking about Fleck and Terrell and Corey Davis and their offense, but to me, the reason that they have took such a big step forward this year is the defensive side of the ball. They're only giving up 17 points per game. I lean Western Michigan. I do. I think this team is extremely focused, extremely motivated. I like Toledo. Don't get me wrong. I like Toledo. Having a very nice year, 9-2 on the year. This would be huge for them. Absolutely huge. I mean, this would be a season-defining win. But I'm going to side with Western Michigan here. But it's not a game I have a huge kind of
one other
side or great lean one way or the other. But since we're breaking it down, I'll lean Western Michigan at home and with that great defense.
One other thing I want to point out: last year Toledo was in a very similar situation against Western Michigan. Western knocked them out and dashed their New Year's 6 bowl chances. Ended up having to go play in Florida in the Boca Raton Bowl. I also look at the fact of you look at a higher end offense. Let's say this year, Eastern Michigan, Northern Illinois, they hung around against Western for the most part, scored some points. Look, I think defensively, obviously they're much better, but. Donnie Wright said, what do you think? I mean, I like Toledo. Ryan likes Western. Who do you like here?
It's a real interesting game if you look between both of these football teams. I mean, if they do the mirror test, it's almost the same thing. Very good quarterback, very good running backs, very good wide receivers. Defense, I do lean towards with Ryan. Western Michigan is a little bit better. Overall, Western Michigan is a better team. But let's not forget, I mean, this is the MAC. This isn't going to be, Michigan, Ohio State defense where it's going to be going toe-to-toe. This game is going to be up in the air. I just can't – I think it's more likely to say in this game, I don't think a double-digit game is in the cards. I don't think Western Michigan comes out and pulverizes Toledo. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you have a quarterback that throws, 70% completions, 40 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions for Toledo. He's got the backs to do it with 3 of them and a core of 3 wide receivers that can get it done also. Davis, more of that one, headed monster wide receiver for the Western Michigan Broncos. I just see this game more likely to be closer than it is a blowout because I don't see Toledo going on the road and winning by 2 touchdowns at Western Michigan. The only thing I'm leery of, the gambler in me, is the amount of money the MAC would be set to lose if Western Michigan goes down in this game. I always leave that one up there, but if you're looking at 8.5 or 9, anything over a touchdown, I'm going to lean towards Toledo because if they're down in this football game, they certainly have the ability to go up against Western Michigan and punch in a late score. Light lean towards Toledo. Don't love the game. Definitely going to be watching it. Won't be betting on it, but if you're asking me who I would take, I probably would take Toledo with the points here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Donnie. I think this kind of sets it to be kind of this could be one of the better games of the day, Ryan. There's going to be a lot of good games, but I think Donnie make a good point. Western, they've gotten a lot of pub this year. Game day was never there last year. This has been a magical year, and one thing about Fleck, he prepares his teams.
Last thing I'll say on this game, last stat I'll give you guys. Think about this. Western Michigan tied for first in turnover margin at plus 15 in the country, not the conference.
Yeah, they're like plus 15.
Plus 15.
That's unbelievable. They are really good. And look, they can really just wear you down. Look what they did last week. They were scoreless after a quarter against Buffalo.
Yep.
Ended up winning 38-0. Impressive. But yeah, look, it's a tough game, man. It really is. But maybe watch this one, Donnie Rarick. Watch this one, maybe. Maybe teaser it. Get it up to 14.5. That seems safe. But it's gonna be a tough one for sure. Sean Harnish makes an interesting point. I actually want to bring this up. He mentioned to me he's been really successful with unders, first half unders in this conference, and he's made it clear. He told me that it seems like a lot of the offense comes in the second half of these games, kind of blowouts. I have noticed we haven't seen like those high flying overs with the MAC that we've normally seen. It's been a weird year in the MAC. I know last year, Ryan, you and I, we would do shows where we would just crush the MAC.
Yep.
We would be like 5-1. We were just killing it. This year it's been tough. Like last night, those games were total crapshoots. They really were. Just because a team has to win doesn't mean they're going to cover.
Right.
You look at Miami last night.
Yep.
Won by 1. That was enough for them.
Yep.
But, you maybe look under in this one. I don't know. 2 defenses. Maybe they play coast to the cuff. It's going to be a cold one up in is this
Kalamazoo.
Yeah, it's in Kalamazoo. Okay. I don't know. Maybe avoid it, Donnie. Maybe watch it or something. I don't know. Next one. Let's move on. Let's go to I don't know where to go here, Ryan. I'm lost without a paddle, Ryan. I'm gonna go to
row the boat, Jeff.
I was waiting for that one. Let's go to this one, and I'm gonna recommend that this one. And Donnie, I have to say to you, Donnie and I are, Ryan. We think a lot alike. I have to say, Donnie, how many times do we talk on the phone and we agree with things, right?
Yes, comes up. That's what makes it fun, man.
Comes up all the time. You and I are guys that we agree on a lot of things, and there's a play of the week, Ryan, that I have this week that you told me you liked as well. I'm going to go with it here, and I bashed this guy all week. I bashed this guy since he's had issues. I'm going to go with Texas -3. Against TCU. Now, Donnie, I'm going to give you the floor because you brought this up to me. Before I even get into my breakdown, I want you to break it down for me.
This bet right here is down to its simplest form of gambling. If you didn't watch either one of these teams, if you just look at their records and you just say they match up. TCU 5-5, Texas 5-6. Don't even watch any football games whatsoever. Just look at the press clippings out there. What is everybody saying? We want to boycott this football game. I don't even want to show up. This guy is my father. I don't even want to go to class. I'll transfer if this guy's gone. This guy never got a fair shake. Well, this is the game where it's going to be put up or shut up here for Texas. If you love your head coach, you're playing at home for bowl eligibility to save his job, your quote-unquote father, I don't ever want to lose him, versus TCU, a 5-5 club on the road who is an average as they can get. And if you looked at some scores and you said, you know what, they lost to Kansas last week, the heat is on. Well, look at TCU. TCU went to Kansas and won by 1 point. So, I mean, this isn't exactly, we're playing way above our shoulders here, and Oklahoma's coming to town. We got to make a stand. This, on its simplest form, is Texas swears they love Charlie Strong. Win this football game. When me and Jeff brought it up earlier, I wasn't even looking at this game yesterday. I woke up this morning, just was scanning the actual game lines, and I don't even think you have to break this game down. Texas has to win this football game. I'm going to put my money where Texas's player's mouth is, so they better back it up. But on its simplest form, it's the much amount of love coming out of Texas. You're at home. You better win this football game.
I 100% agree to you. Ryan, what does that say right there?
Yeah, final stand for Strong.
Yeah, if you love the guy so much, time to play for him. Time to give the ball to Freeman. Time to let him have at it. Shane Buechele. Last year, TCU won 50-7. Trevon Boykin ain't walking through the door. Josh Doxson ain't walking through the door. Kenny Hill's walking through the door with 12 interceptions and a 62% completion percentage. This team is not very good. They went to Oklahoma State last week. Actually, Oklahoma State went to TCU last week and absolutely hammered this team. This team stinks. They can't move the football. Defensively, they're not very good. Texas covered 4 or 5 at home this year. It's time to stand up, make a stand for your coach at home, go to a bowl game, put them on your shoulders, and say, we're going to stand pat here because we love our coach. Texas -3, my play of the week, my first one. Jump on it. Ryan, you can't bet against Texas here. It's not smart gambling.
No, I mentioned to you I like Texas. Look, football more than any other sport is driven on emotion and the physicality that is drawn from that emotion. And if Texas gets up early, it gets up early by 7, 10, 14 points. I mean, it's a wrap. It's going to be over. It's going to be over early. So I think that with the emotion and just the kind of atmosphere, I think that it will be in Austin. Coming off of that, I mean, really one of the most embarrassing losses a school could have. I think Texas is really going to rise up. If you saw a press conference of, I forget who it was, what position or whatever, an assistant coach that was pretty much moved to tears talking about Charlie Strong, that has to kind of show you everything there and how they feel. So, pretty cut and dry. Obviously, all three of us like Texas. I think a lot of people out there would like Texas here. And although I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Texas and shits the bed. But we'll see. That's the way I lean, though. Absolutely. Texas or nothing for me. Put up or shut up, like Donnie said. Show me how much you love this guy and Charlie Strong. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think we all are on the same wavelength here. It's going to be my first play of the week. Let's move on, guys. Donnie, great breakdown. That was some good stuff there. Where are we going here? Ryan, let's do one of yours. Syracuse-Pittsburgh. Tell us what do you like in that game?
Yeah, basically, it's pretty cut and dry for me with Syracuse-Pittsburgh. And I know some people probably say, you're crazy. Eric Dungy's not going to play. I'm actually going to go over and just ride the Pitt over train here. I know, Dungy doesn't sound like he's going to play. They're holding out hope. I know he says he's doubtful, but, for my breakdown, I'm not expecting him to play, so I'll just throw that out there. So the total, I believe, is currently 68.5. seems kind of high, especially if Dungy doesn't play. So that kind of is interesting to me. I think that seems like a lot of people would say, well, if Dungy's not in there, I mean, that's a lot of points. Syracuse shouldn't be able to score. I think Pitt, though, Pitt should really, really put up some numbers on this Syracuse defense. Last 3 weeks, Syracuse has given up 54, 35, and 45. Pitt is really coming in rolling. Peterman has been fantastic. Senior quarterback really getting the job done. And obviously with James Conner, just one of my favorite stories in football. One of my favorite players was even before the cancer. I just enjoy watching him run the football. Last week, Syracuse allowed 225 yards on the ground. So Pitt should really be able to move the ball at will, whether they want to throw or they want to pass it, whether they want to do trick plays, whatever. Really should be able to move the ball at will. And, Syracuse, they're only scoring 23 points per game, but, I think their offense is kind of built to attack Pittsburgh with kind of the up-tempo, air raid, kind of get the ball out fast through the air, which is what Pitt has trouble stopping, which is, you saw how many passing yards they give up week after week after week. So for me, I'm going to go over in this game. Like I said, Pitt 10-1 to the over so far this season. 16 of their last 22 in conference have gone over. I'm just not willing to go against the Pitt over train right now. So I'm going to go over in this game, 68.5.
Yeah, Ryan, this Pittsburgh team, man, they can score. They crushed Duke last week.
They did. They're rolling. They're feeling good right now.
The concerning thing for me, and I know you mentioned Dungy may or may not play. This team has looked lost without him playing.
They have.
I mean, they really have. I thought you were actually going to lean with the side here.
I know, but that's another thing. I think a lot of people will say, well, Syracuse has looked lost. I don't think they've scored more than 23 points the last three games. So why is the total almost pushing 70? That should be an easy under. I'm going to go the other way.
I don't know. I think maybe Pittsburgh might put up 50 here, to be honest. Donnie, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, that's a good look. That last thought there, pretty good one there, Jeff. If you look at the last 3 games with Dungy, since he got nicked up at Clemson, they got shut out at Clemson, put up 20 at NC State, and only 14 points at FSU. But if you look on the flip side, reverse, FSU 45 points, NC State, which is known not to run it up at all, anybody, scores 35, and of course Clemson got 54. Team total on Pittsburgh at home senior day, I think they just run it up. The best part about it is even if Syracuse doesn't score, Syracuse runs 100 miles an hour, is going to want to try to get 100 plays in. That just means more plays for Pitt, more scores for Pitt. If that total is hanging, I guess, on Pittsburgh's side, somewhere in the low 40s team total, they'll probably go right over that. I mean, just look at every game they played this year, even with a bad Syracuse defense. 56 points, or 56 to 14, Pittsburgh goes over Duke. Duke's not a high-energy type ball club. I can picture that same type of scoring total. I just don't know if for a total game that Syracuse can get over there, but Syracuse is going to run a lot of plays. Pittsburgh's going to score a lot of points. I'm just not sure if Syracuse can score the points at this time.
Yeah, that's my concern here, Ryan. But for me, maybe Dungy will play. Who knows? Just hope maybe at least Pittsburgh or Syracuse can score 21. Let's say
they should be able to. I mean, this Pitt defense is pretty
poor.
Defense.
You're right, Ryan,
and that's. Right. I mean, they're bad, man.
Well, they're actually the second worst pass defense in the country.
There you go. So, they should be able to move the ball a little bit. Come on.
I'll tell you what, real quick on the NBA front, this Sixer team, Ryan, is really fun to watch.
They are.
They really are. It's real nice to have a little bit of look. They're not competitive.
They're
getting there. They're looking to win 5 straight.
A lot of their games have been competitive.
And they're looking to win 5 straight at home, tied with Memphis, 86-86 with 10 seconds to go. So, look, Joel Embiid, man.
Yep.
Kid's turning into a
fantastic
quite
player.
the star. But, Ryan, your first play of the week is going to be over.
Yep.
69.5?
68.
68.5 in Pittsburgh and Cuse.
Yep.
Let's go to this one. 12 p.m. on Saturday. Actually, let's wait. We'll come back to that one.
Are you sure?
Yes, we're going to come back to that one. Interesting game here. 3:30 p.m. on Saturday. West Virginia, -7 against Iowa State. Over under 57.5. Is West Virginia ready to get the bad taste out of their mouth from Oklahoma? I would hope. They've covered 3 or 4 against Iowa State. Their offense to me is kind of. I think West Virginia. I drank the Kool-Aid with them. Defensively, they're pretty good, but their offense needs to turn it up a little bit. and their offense has kind of been lackluster, you would say. They weren't really able to run the football last week. I know they ended up scoring into the 20s, but I don't know. Skylar Howard just doesn't do a lot for me lately. You're facing, if you're Iowa State, a lot tougher defense here. You faced Kansas, Iowa, or they faced Texas Tech, Kansas, and Oklahoma the last 3 games. 3 really tough defenses. 3 not tough defenses to score on. Now you're facing, West Virginia. But again, this Cyclone team's different. It seems like they're a totally different team. They've been able to move the football. Should be pressing in this game. Just the fact that it's West Virginia and, I don't know. A lot of step-up games, though. They've lost Iowa State. I'm just not sure they're ready to compete against West Virginia. Keep in mind, West Virginia, awful loss. Only laying 7 here. It looks kind of enticing maybe to take Iowa State who's played better or whatever, but I'm going to lay the number here. This is a game someone sent in. I forget who it was, but as I looked into it, I kind of liked it a little more and more. I like West Virginia in this game. Any thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, not a lot. Iowa State is tough there in Ames. I mean, really, you kind of look at their numbers, ATS, over the last handful of seasons, and even going back quite a ways. Iowa State, they're 5-1 at home this year, 76-60 overall at home since 1992. So, they like to get the job done there. So. But West Virginia coming off a loss, not just a loss too, an embarrassing loss on national television. Look, I'm not in love with West Virginia. I kind of haven't been all year. But in this game, I guess a slight lean to West Virginia, but I really don't have anything on this game.
I mean, Iowa State's lost all their step-up games. They've lost 19 consecutive games against ranked opponents. Great stat there. Donnie, do you see any reason that Iowa State will compete here?
I actually think they might compete in this one. If they're going to get a touchdown, or if the public maybe pushes that to a 7.5, I might lean towards Iowa State. Again, with the points that Ryan made, the home teams are very good. I mean, forget about the loss to Northern Iowa. They blew out a bad San Jose State team. I mean, they had Baylor on the ropes and should have won, and that's when Baylor at least had a little bit of momentum back in early October. Skipping over Kansas State, 31-26. They lose that game. Oklahoma played with them 34-24, and then just destroyed Texas Tech 66-10. Completely different team at home and away. And I just think that loss that West Virginia had last week, that was their Super Bowl. That's going to linger. That was demoralizing. I think they roll their helmets out on the field on Saturday and just say, we're a better football team, and that doesn't go very well. I think Iowa State's building towards something for next year. Home, one of those senior days there. I think they play really well. And if it's touchdown, I'm going to lean towards taking the points here.
Yeah, it's definitely enticing. Maybe they had played a lot better Iowa State, but they really struggle against ranked opponents, and it just. I feel like this is one of those games where it looks like, maybe you want to take the 7.5 with a bad team, then you're like, God damn it, why did I take the bad team? They're losing by 10. It's kind of one of those things. Joel Embiid's fouled. I mean, you got to call a fucking foul.
I don't think
there.
He was fouled.
I think he was. Marcus Gasol tackled him.
Straight up. Actually, Embiid initiates the contact. I think it's a good no call.
Well, we're going overtime here in South Philadelphia, so good game here. I don't know. Just kind of one thing you want to look at, maybe.
Regardless of the outcome, quickly though, Jeff, it's nice that they're competitive now.
Well, Memphis is bad.
But
they're
still,
a bad
it's nice to be able to turn on a Sixers game and with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and it be.
I agree. No, you're right.
And it seems that's starting to become the norm, and that's a good thing.
And they're winning at home. I mean, it's people. You look at the stadium. There's people going to the games. I mean, we haven't seen that.
How about Embiid won the other night and then goes to the club in his jersey?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I saw he was at recess with his jersey on.
His jersey on.
That's great. He's a great. Did you see when he
Instagram?
Yeah, Chandler Parsons.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Yes.
He goes, did you smash? I hope you smashed.
I hope you smashed that, bro. Dude, he's great. Let's move on. What we'll do, Ryan? We have both of us have a play of the day.
Right.
Let's get those out of the way.
Okay.
And then we'll break down the big ones here.
Sure.
The Apple Cup and the Michigan-Ohio State game. I'm going to give out my other play of the day. I'm going to head over to the AAC and take a look at a matchup that doesn't mean very much, to be honest. But I'm going to look at the total in this game. I'm going to go over 69.5 or 70 in Navy SMU. Navy, not a lot to play for in this game. They've already clinched the side of their division, the West Division, and they're not really playing for a whole lot here. But you look at the fact of that offense. They're going to run their offense. This offense has been humming. 66 points last week against East Carolina. They've scored 40 or more in 5 of 6. And this offense is just humming. Ryan, Will Worth, look at this guy. Comes in off of kind of the backup role.
He's backup, yeah.
Yeah, Tago Smith gets injured. He comes in. This kid's run this offense great, and he can throw the ball a little bit. So it gives them an added dimension.
You remember I had over was my play of the week last week.
Yeah.
With the same team in Navy.
Easy winner.
Against Tulsa. So
yeah, well, that was 2 weeks ago.
Or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry.
Good point, though. An easy winner. Yeah, if you've been betting Navy overs, you've been cashing.
Yep.
5 of 6 have went over. SMU, this offense has actually looked pretty good as well. Last 6 games, 4 they've scored 45 or 35 or more. Their offense is kind of clicking a little bit. Ben Davis has gotten more and more reps, and he's actually looked pretty good. Both these teams struggle on defense as well. Both teams are giving up 33 points a game, so you're not exactly humming on offense or on defense. I'm sorry. In Navy, maybe you see a little bit of regression defensively. They may not care very much. They have Army next week, so obviously that's or in a week or two, so that's obviously something to look forward to. Maybe they on the defensive end look a little suspect. I think this one's a high-scoring affair. I think Navy will score 40. SMU should. They could score 40 as well. This could be a wild one for sure. I see no reason to think this is 28-24. Donnie Rightside, any thoughts on this? You know these two teams pretty well. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I like your thoughts on that because Navy does have it wrapped up, but for some reason that type of offense travels well regardless of anybody who's playing because if you're going to have the 3 running backs, that means you're going to go about 9 deep in running backs. So even if you rest your top 2 in the second half, you saw it with an Army Morgan State team. Completely different, but the same thing. They're running guys you never even heard of are getting their first carries running for 40 yards. That offense is going to travel. SMU 1 win away from being bowl eligible. They're going to play this one right down to the gun and play it fast. And Navy, again, looking at their past couple games and even throughout the season, offense is on fire, especially versus suspect-type teams and teams that like to run high tempo. They'll go right with them. If you want to slug it out like a la Notre Dame, they'll play in a 28-27 game. But if you want to shoot it out, they'll take you right into the 50s as well. I think you're right on point there because SMU, Jeff, they're going to get into the 30s against Navy. And no doubt in my mind, Navy's not going to get stunted by SMU's defense. They're going to be in the 30s there, just no matter how high. Can somebody hit that 42 number, 42-35, 42-31, something in that range? I can see it going that way. I like the way it's headed for you, Jeff.
Yeah, I think this one gets into the 70s, Ryan. Overs for Navy is kind of just an auto bet. It's like in basketball, the Citadel over. They're just kind of auto bets. Again, they went
Especially
over.
if you run that high up tempo. And if you look at the way that SMU runs their offense, nobody on that defense is going to be able to keep up with Sutton and Prochet. They're 2 big play guys, and that's what you need against Navy. If you can hit that home run 70-yard play, that's exactly forces Navy to get a little bit more up tempo. So, it has all the ingredients there. It's going to be good weather, obviously, down there in Dallas. So, I think you have a good shot at it, Jeff.
Yeah, and you would think Navy should just steamroll SMU with that run game, Ryan.
Yeah, look, SMU gave up 33 to TCU, 45 to Temple, 43 to Tulsa, 51 to Memphis. So high scoring up to, teams. Navy has been one of those teams. They don't run an offense that you think points, but they've been running it effectively, and Will Worth has been really kind of putting up big numbers for Navy. So they should be able to get theirs. And kind of like Donnie said, SMU should come out motivated. And I don't. And especially with Navy, you talk about they have things wrapped up. The game doesn't mean much. But with academy schools, with those kids that are focused, and they're going to come out and play this game like it's just any other game. It has nothing to do with that. That's just the way that they are taught and the way that they're kind of brought up and coached and whatnot. So, yeah, I like over in this game. I think it's definitely the right side. Like you said, it's definitely one of those auto bet teams, which is games, which is kind of the reason why I gave Pittsburgh out. It just seems to be an auto bet. So, over I like.
I guess I was looking long line trying more of in the second half. Maybe you don't play as hard on defense just because it's not like, if you lose, it's a big deal. But I agree. They should still play pretty hard.
But I think it's a good thing, though, that they're focused.
Yeah,
they're not just going to go through the motions, and
sure.
They're actually, going to try and actually
Plus,
try to score some points and whatnot.
Sean pointing out SMU runs a lot of plays, 77 plays a game,
right.
Pretty high. So I'm going to go over. I'll go 70 because that's the number I'm seeing. Over 70 in Navy Southern Methodist. Those are my 2 plays of the week. I'm going to go Texas -3 and Navy SMU over 70. Ryan, let's jump to the Apple Cup. You got Washington State, and I think you and I. This is going to be an interesting breakdown, and because I think I love Washington State. I've made that clear all year. I really like this team a lot. Winner has the right to play Colorado in the Pac-12 title game. This one goes at 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. I know, Ryan, I'll give you a breakdown. Just one thing. Actually, you know what? I'll let you break it down, Ryan. You got Washington -6. Over-under is 63.5. I'll first give you your shot. Who do you like in this game and why?
Yeah, Jeff, like you alluded to, Pac-12 North is on the line here. Winner goes to...
This should be the title game, I think.
Yeah, and the winner goes to the title game. And look, this is probably the biggest game in Pullman that I can, or you can, or Donnie, or anyone can think of.
Drew Bledsoe days.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's a good name drop, right?
And against Damon Heward,
maybe Ryan Leaf, So, so I mean,
where is Ryan Leaf nowadays?
But seriously,
what's he up to?
Yeah, but seriously, I mean, you really have to go back to probably that Ryan Leaf 1997 season to where Washington State has had a game of this magnitude, and that place should be rocking. It's a 3:30 kickoff, so the lights will be on at halftime and whatnot. So that place should be rocking. And if you look previously in the season, where Washington had the same type of thing. Biggest game there in a long time against Stanford, and they whitewashed Stanford. Now, I'm not saying Washington State's going to blow out Washington because I'm not saying that at all. But I do like Washington State here with the points. Very good home team, 4-2 ATS this year at home, scoring 50 points a game. Luke Falk should be really focused for this game. If you remember, missed last year with that head injury that he battled at the end of the season. Big thing for me this year, Jeff and Donnie, with Washington State is the running game should help. They're averaging 4.6 yards per carry this year, which is good to see because Washington State, if you remember last year, it was pass. I mean, they didn't really get anything out of the running game. The running game really kind of taking things off Luke Falk a little bit this year, and their run defense is first in conference, so I think they'll be able to kind of slow down the rushing attack for Washington and try to kind of pin their ears back. And get after that passing game for Washington with Jake Browning. So, thing two in this game, underdog 15-6 ATS in the last 21 matchups. Look, I like Washington. Don't get me wrong. We talked about this team a lot on this show over the year, and they do it on both sides of the football with offense and defense. Not covering right now, though. Not covering. They're only covered 1 out of their last 5 games. Big thing for me, too. Joe Mathis is really going to be missed in this game. I know he's been out for a little bit now, but only 4 sacks in the 4 games that he is missed. He was a key piece in that rush defense as well. So I'm going to lean Washington State. I just think this is going to be a close game. Going to kind of be whatever team can kind of not give up as many big plays will be able to win the game. I really wouldn't be surprised if Washington State carries that emotion and finds a way to win. I really wouldn't, especially after the game last week where they just was battle, and they let it slip away like halfway through that fourth quarter. They had it in Boulder and just let it slip away. I think they're a little focused this week. I like Washington State. Jeff, tell me why you like Washington.
I actually like Washington for a couple reasons. First of all, their defense is not allowed more than 28 points this year. So that 50 points a game, I don't think we're going to see that here. And by the way, to corner that, 50 points a game on the road for Washington. Washington's won 6 of 7 against Washington State. And I'm going to tell you right now, Luke Falk, not sure you've seen a secondary like this. Kevin King, Sidney Jones, Budda Baker. Best secondary in the country, if you ask me. They've been downright shut down. Look, I love Luke Falk. I love this offense. I think we're all well aware of that. He leads the country in completion percentage. He's been fantastic. And he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He didn't play last year like you said. Mike Leach is going to have something for Chris Peterson. But I just think Washington, for me, I feel like they're close. I think this is a close game. I think it's like a 42-35, something like that. I think Washington State will end up scoring more than 28 points, but this defense is really good. I'm not ready to anoint that Washington State they've given up 12 pass plays of 40 yards or more this year, secondary-wise. I'm not ready to really anoint them. They're a bend but don't break defense to me. I don't know that they're that good on the defensive end. They've kind of had the luxury of facing Stanford and UCLA and teams like that are just Utah. Teams that are, I don't think they played Utah, but teams are just lost. I mean, even Colorado. Colorado's not a great offensive team, I don't think. So now you face a real offense. If this was 8, Ryan, I would take Washington State. I would. 6, I'm going to lay the number with Washington here. It hurts me to do that, but I'm going to do it. Donnie Wright said, we have another kind of disagreement here. What do you think in this one?
Actually, I'm going to abstain from taking a side in either one between Washington and Washington State. I'm going to look more at the total in this one. If you look at both of these offenses, two offenses that are crafted, just looks like pure genius on both sides of the ball. The one thing I'm going to love with the total here, again, is with Mike Leach. If it's 4th and 2 or 4th and 3 or less on the 40-yard line going in, or even the 50, even your own 40, he's going to be going for this. This is going to be a great total matchup to take a look at. I don't see Washington being stopped by Washington State's defense, and on vice versa, I think Mike Leach is smart enough to be able to hang 28 to 31 points on Washington, as crazy as that sounds. But I just see Washington moving the ball up and down the field. It's one of those games, again, where if it's going to be close, it's at home, it's in Pullman. If Washington is up 7, 10, or 14 points or somewhere in that range, I think Washington's going to be close enough in this one to get in that one. But I think Riverboat Gambler Mike Leach is going to open the door for a great over, going for it in some situations he probably shouldn't be, which means going for it, scoring points. And if he stopped, that means Washington's heading in the other direction. If it's going to hang out at 63.5 to 64, I can see this game going over easily in this one.
Yeah, I definitely think the game could go over. That's actually a direction I was actually thinking about leaning, Donnie, for my second play of the week. Your points should come. I mean, you look at Washington State. I think Washington State, I don't think that's really, I'll be honest, you kind of said it like it would be a surprise, Donnie. I really wouldn't be surprised if Washington State hung 28 to 30 points. I really wouldn't. I mean, going into that game last week, Colorado was only giving up 10, 11 points per game at home. Washington State,
easy. I mean, that game was.
Yeah.
If you watched that game last week, that could have swung on a dime if he makes an easy 40-yard touchdown catch.
Yes.
It didn't, and Colorado pulled it out. But I agree. I mean, Mike Leach, even without Craycraft last week, that offense was humming.
Yes, very much so. I mean, they went in there and scored 24 points in Boulder, 2 touchdowns more than the average that Colorado's giving up on average at home. So yeah, look, I like the over as well. So you got a trifecta of plays here, guys, from myself, Jeff, and Donnie. So this should, just another fantastic game on the card. That this game kicks off at 3:30, so my game will be over. So this is definitely a game I'll be looking forward to watching and checking out for sure.
This was actually on Friday, Ryan.
Oh, it's on Friday. Thank you.
So,
it is on Friday.
Yeah,
I think Friday. That's right.
Yeah, this will definitely be one I'm going to be watching.
I will be watching for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait. By the way, guys, quick note, and I'm actually happy to hear this because I'm actually happy to know that this guy's doing well. Ryan Leaf is actually doing well. He was incarcerated.
He was.
He's out. He's now he works at a rehabilitation sober living home.
Cool.
He lives in California, and he's not in jail. He's doing okay, actually.
Yep.
He joked that after basically making $5 million a year, now he drives addicts around to their missed appointments and things like that. He quotes, I was looking up ways to kill myself on Google. I tried with a dull knife. There was blood, selfish things. I couldn't do it. I thought about pulling in my parents' garage and let the engine run. I mean, he was just going through a tough time, Ryan Leaf.
Yep.
You remember that time he flipped out on that reporter? He spent 32 months in prison.
Yep.
So I'm happy to know, though, that Ryan Leaf's doing well.
Ryan Leaf reminds you of like a child actor that's was in the spotlight, and you see it so much where they grow up in their head cases. He had so much success at Washington State, and, went to the Rose Bowl, and a hard fought game. He lost. Then he's the number 1 pick, and with the Chargers, and it just kind of all went downhill from there. And yeah, so it's good to hear him that he's doing well.
You guys remember when he was with the Chargers, the big hubbub out there one weekend? It was a Saturday before a Sunday game, and he was playing a flag football game in a park in a league before the game on Sunday, and they lost it.
Wow. Actually, I've never heard that.
I never heard that.
Nuts.
That's really nuts, actually. I've never heard that.
Imagine if it happened nowadays.
It's probably, if you probably Google it, you look it up there, it's pretty funny to know that People are snapping pictures at him playing flag football when he's got a game the next day.
His one last thing, his most liberating moment right now. He's a 6 handicap on the golf course.
That's impressive.
Pretty good.
That's really good.
So good to know that Ryan Leaf's doing well because he was going through some tough times. Final game, Ryan. We went through our plays of the week.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Michigan, Ohio State. I know many have waited. Many want to know our opinions. Many want to just talk about this game. But I have an issue with this game, and I'm going to tell you why.
You do?
Why in the hell is this game at 12 o'clock?
I love that. I love it. I'm not going to lie. I love
You
it.
love it? I hate it.
Yes,
I think
I
it's
do.
idiotic. I think it's completely
Because it's
stupid.
tradition, I told you.
Yep.
A tradition like no other. What is this, the Masters?
That's the Masters.
Okay, but again, I mean, this is the biggest game of the year, arguably. In the, is there a bigger game
No,
this
it's
year?
the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, why is this game on at 12 o'clock?
It's tradition.
Put it on
dude.
8 o'clock.
How it always
Fuck
is.
that.
That's how it is.
Put it on 8 o'clock. Flex it like you normally would in an NFL game. This is idiotic. I hate it. Two of the most dominating defenses in the country. I think we could say, you could make an argument, maybe other than Alabama, these are the two most dominating defenses. 10.9 points a game for Michigan. At home, Ohio State this year, giving up 8.8 points a game. Just absolutely dominating. Harbaugh says Wilton Speight will play, or he's practiced, I'm sorry. Didn't say he will play.
He hasn't said that yet.
And he's been very cryptic all year on who will play and all that sort of thing. Look, if John O'Korn plays, I don't think Michigan has any chance. I mean, he showed last week he couldn't move the football. And I don't think he's going to move the football this week against Ohio State. I think the big interesting part of this one, will Peppers spy J.T. Barrett? I have to feel like that might be thought of. J.T. Barrett, Peppers, he could take a game over if he could kind of spy, keep him in the backfield. Will Peppers play through the Wildcat maybe? Could Ryan Jabril Peppers win the Heisman with a unbelievable performance here? I mean, could you see him spying
he
here?
would maybe jump into more consideration. I'm not sure he could win it, but he could really kind of cement himself as a fantastic legacy at the University of Michigan. That's for sure.
Sure, but as far as this one, I mean, for me, it's all about Speight and O'Korn, and it's sad because we're probably not going to know who's going to play until right before the game. I don't have much on this one. It's a really tough game. If Speight plays, I think Michigan will win. I do for whatever reason. I think they have the slightly better defense. I love Curtis Samuel and Mike Weber. I like them. Don't get me wrong, but I like what Michigan has at receiver: Darbo, Chesson, Jake Butt. The running backs have been fantastic. They throw like 3 or 4 running backs seemingly at you, and I think Harbaugh's going to just outsmart Urban Meyer in this one. I don't know why. I just can't bet on Speight.
Jeff, what is Urban Meyer's initials?
UM.
Go Blue. Not saying they're going to win. So
Shut up,
I'm not.
Come
No,
on.
I'm not.
You
saying
know
that.
they're going to win. You think they're going to win.
I've said to my cousin Tony, who's a Michigan fan. As of now, as we sit on Wednesday, I'm not ready to say Michigan's going to go in and win. But I will take the points. I think it will be a close game. I think Michigan's game plan going into this game defensively will start defensively. I think defensively they're going to try to stack the box. Say J.T. Barrett, go ahead and try and beat us throwing the ball downfield with Jordan Lewis and Channing Stribling, 2 of the best cornerbacks on the outside. They'll live with that all day long. Don Brown, Mr. Blitz, they call him, dialing up all those pressures, trying to get at J.T. Barrett. I think that's the way they'll attack it defensively, and I think they will be able to have some success with that. I'm not so sure J.T. Barrett can sit back there and pick apart this Michigan defense. I'll tell you the game that opened my eyes, and maybe it opened some more people's eyes, was the Penn State game, obviously, for Ohio State. Their offensive line got mauled. I mean, absolutely mauled in that second half against Penn State. And all I could think about was what the defensive line for Michigan was going to do. So I think Michigan can have success defensively. Offensively, Jeff, Wilton Speight, from kind of all the stuff I've been reading and the insiders that I follow and all that kind of stuff, sounds like he's going to play. If he can kind of,
it's the biggest game of the year.
He
was
been
better
practicing. If he can tolerate the pain, sounds like they might give him some sort of injection, obviously, like they do. If all that goes well, he should be able to play. Offensive line needs to keep him upright because obviously Ohio State will be teeing off on him and all that kind of stuff as expected. He'll play. I fully expect him to go and play. And offensively, they need to establish the run, in my opinion. Take some pressure off Spade. If you look at the game last week, L.J. Scott just had a field day. Actually had a career high in rushing yards against Ohio State, and they really had no answer for him. If they had any resemblance of quarterback play, Michigan State, they win that game, and I think they win that game maybe by a touchdown. I mean, they, O'Connor or whatever the guy's name for Michigan
Tyler
State.
O'Connor.
Yeah, Tyler O'Connor. I mean, he was lost. He's lost. So if they had any sort of quarterback play, I think they win that game. So I think they come in, run the ball. I told you the other day, I think there's a possibility, now I'm obviously kidding around here, but pretty close to it, that Jabril Peppers could play every play in this game.
Yeah,
Offensively, defense,
right.
and special teams. I'm serious. I think you haven't seen Peppers in the Wildcat a lot this year. Sparingly, not as much as maybe you thought. I think Harbaugh is going to just open the book, throw everything at Ohio State. And I think it's going to be a close battle here. I think the home field advantage, in my opinion, slight tip of the scale to Ohio State. But I would grab Michigan with the points. I would. I think it's too many points. But
yeah, I'm just not that impressed with Ohio State. I'm sorry, I'm not. Again, look, I know Michigan hasn't had the greatest schedule either. We can all go back and forth that. Just remember, they have to play Colorado. They beat Penn State.
They have 3 wins or top 10 teams right now.
So. Ohio State lost to Penn State, and they actually were dominated most of that game. We remember. They were down. Or not dominated. No. They dominated Penn State in the game, and they blew a big lead.
Correct.
If we can remember correctly. They should have lost to Northwestern. I mean, probably. They didn't play well in that game. Last week you mentioned it. If Michigan State doesn't go for 2, who knows what happens in that game? Like you said, if they had any sort of quarterback. I just think Michigan's a better team. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. The fact that it's in Ohio State, well, it's definitely a big thing for sure. But for me, this is all about Wilton Speight. If Wilton Speight plays, I think Michigan will win. If John O'Korn plays...
If John O'Korn plays, they have no shot.
Right.
I mean, if John O'Korn plays, put your bankroll in Ohio State.
But I think in a game like this, with all the marbles and just it's such a huge game, I think if you're Wilton Speight, if you want to be a Michigan legend, you go out and play this game. You don't sit on the sidelines.
Yep.
Unless your arm's falling off, you play.
I think he'll play. I do.
You got plenty of time after this game to well, not a lot
you
of
don't.
time.
You have a week.
Either way,
if they
you
win.
got steroids and all the sort of stuff. So get some cortisone, you'll be fine. Donnie, what do you think?
Classic rivalry game, as opposed to picking a side again. I'm going to lean towards a total.
Come on, dude. You have to pick a side.
Ohio State.
Okay. You like the under, though.
I just like the intangibles. I mean, Ohio State's owned Michigan the past couple of years. It's going to be at Ohio State. And even if Wilton Speight does play, I think it's one of those cat and mouse games where, his shoulder's so banged up, they're just going to protect him because he's a leader out there and it's going to be better. Maybe give the
Ryan,
players.
Ryan, stop giving Donnie the finger on the phone. Stop. That's not nice.
But, outside of it, I mean, 6.5, I think, is the right number there. I can see it coming down to one of those 17-10, 24-17 type games. This is one of those games where I think Urban Meyer and both Harbaugh are going to go into a shell and say who's going to make that mistake first. They're just going to lean on both of their defenses, maybe get one of those fumbles late in the game. I don't see this being a wide open, let's spread it out. I just see them running right into the middle of the line of scrimmage, punting, playing good field position. I can see this game staying in the 30s more likely than as opposed to getting into the 50s. So I would lean on 47, 46.5, taking the under. But in the game itself, that injury is so big with Wilton Speight. 3 games previous before him getting hurt, 291 in the air, 244 in the air, 387 in the air. He disappears. They throw for 103 yards, followed by 59 yards. That's not a recipe to win football games against a top-flight team on the road. That's why I would look more to the under. But if you're asking me to pick the game, I'm going with Ohio State to win by a touchdown.
Yeah, it's and you know what's so shitty about this one is Harbaugh doesn't give a fuck about Gant. He doesn't care about what we think. He's just gonna do what's right for his team, and you're not gonna know if Speight played because Speight went out and he
warmed up,
threw it around last week, right. And right away, it's just I think if you like Michigan, take a shot. You might have to lose some money here, but I don't know. It's tough. A lot of these games this week.
It's great. Rivalry week's great, man. This is why it's so hard to break them down.
Yeah, and sometimes there's not on a lot of these games we're looking at. A lot of the value this week is going to be on North Texas UTEP
the
kind of
lesser
games.
known
That's where the value is going to be because these games like these couple Washington State and Ohio, they're keyed in on these lines. They're tough, but I'm going to hold my nose and take Michigan here on the money line. Actually, I'm going to put that one in. So
it'd be crazy here if they win on Saturday. That's all I can say. It'll be crazy.
Yeah, well, luckily it's at noon Eastern, so we'll have all day to think about it if it happens. This game should be at 8:00. I mean, this is stupid. It's so dumb. Donnie Rightside, you are the man. We will definitely speak to you again. During bowl season and more for sure. Have you gotten involved in any college basketball? I know you don't do much without a conference.
No, just been watching. Watched a couple games today. Been watching them throughout the week. I don't lay any money on these type of games. I just like to see, who Twitter has and something to follow and catch up on. It is nice knowing that you can just be in your office all day long. I wish college basketball played all day long, all year like that in the winter. It would be nice. But just watching, catching up on a couple of things, just looking at the Kentuckys and the Dukes, just, headed down the line. But you know me, I'm digging in on Conference USA, the MAC, the Sun Belt. We'll get into all that lower level basketball that nobody watches except me, and we'll have some fun with it.
Dude, I was in all last night, Ryan, watching. I felt like a dad and seeing his son hit a big shot in a game. IPFW winning last night was it was great for me because, dude, we've been really close to IPFW, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've bet on this team a ton. It was nice to see them get a win last night. But yeah, no, you're right, Donnie. I got to tell you, I love out of conference. I know you don't, but I'm a big fan of out of conference. I love watching Kentucky just absolutely obliterate Cleveland State and that kind of stuff. So
Calipari's son shooting threes with 5 minutes to go in the game.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, no, dude, I'm telling you, man, Kentucky is Malik.
They're unbelievable. They're unbelievable.
Yo, Malik Monk, man, he is good. But
they have everybody seems like they're either 6'8" to 6'11", rangy with a 3 game that can handle the ball in that team.
Yeah, and they're so good defensively also. Donnie, great stuff, man. We will talk to you soon. Have a great Thanksgiving with your family. Gonna be a good weekend down in Philly, Ryan. You got Cavs Sixers on Sunday. You got Eagles Packers on Monday.
Yep.
Got a lot of good things going. So, Donnie, we will see you soon. We will see you before the year's end for sure. Have a great night, buddy.
Thanks, Donnie.
Hey,
Happy
thanks,
holidays,
Jeff
man.
and Ryan. Thanks again, man. Have so much fun on the show. The information is priceless there. Listeners out there, the fun part of this is in gambling is sharing information, going back and forth, and helping each other. It's what these two guys do best, and I just appreciate being on the show. We'll catch up later, guys. Thanks again. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Donnie.
Donnie Rightside joining us live from DonnieRightside.com. You can find Donnie. He doesn't play a lot of games, Ryan, but he's efficient, does a great job, and always great talking to him. Gets to the point.
Yep.
We have a lot of fun. So let's recap here. We'll go through maybe one or two other ones and wrap it all up here. You like Washington State plus the 6 against Washington and over 68.5 in Pittsburgh, Syracuse. I like Texas minus 3 and over 70 in Navy, SMU. Ryan, let's just kind of rapid fire here. A couple other games, and then we will wrap it up. We don't have anything to do tomorrow, so it's not like we have a lot to do.
I got to be honest. There were years back where, this is the one of the biggest drinking nights of the year. And
Oh yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm 27 years old. I'm glad though that I'm not out tonight. I just got a message from one of my buddies that says he's passed 3. His wife is driving, so they're fine. But he said they have passed 2 checkpoints already in the city, and it's just past 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I'm not out there driving. I hope everyone out there is being safe. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
it makes you think. It just really makes you think.
I had my, I remember when I was 22, 23, 24. You remember me. I was out all the time. I was always out. And I walked a lot of the time, but you gotta watch it, man.
Gotta be careful.
I was in one of them DUI checkpoints one time, and
So was I.
Yeah.
I was sober, but
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful, man.
Yep.
DUI is nothing to fuck with, man.
No.
You gotta be smart.
For sure.
Couple here, Ryan. Texas A&M plus 7.5 against LSU. No Leonard Fournette.
Insert Trevor Knight.
Yeah, Trevor Knight's going to play. You almost want to take a shot with A&M here, but is that a smokescreen? Is he really going to play?
I don't know. LSU with a big emotional loss, the goal line stand. Florida gets on them last week at home. Now they're 6-4. I don't know. That game's. I'm good.
Tough one.
I'm good.
Where else do we want to go here?
How about Michigan State, Penn State, Joe?
Michigan State, Penn State.
Anything on that game?
Why don't you break it down?
The interesting thing
I actually
is,
like Michigan State.
As do I, but the interesting thing is if Ohio State beats Penn State, Happy Valley's going to be nuts. Because with a win...
Is that Saturday, that game?
It's Saturday. It's after the Michigan-Ohio State game. So they'll know...
Well, I'm going to have to wait.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's a game that people need to pay attention to because if Ohio State beats Michigan, with a win, Penn State goes to the Big Ten title game. And that it's going to be a whiteout, I think, again. Happy Valley will be nuts. It will transition into a night game. So initially, though, I like Michigan State. D'Antoni, usually with points, is money. But that's going to be one of those games just kind of watch and see how the day unfolds leading up to the game.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right. I wouldn't make a wager on that one until we kind of find out what's going on in the other game. If that's your team, Ryan, do you take phones away or what?
What's that?
If you're Penn State, do you take the phones away?
What do you mean?
I wouldn't want my team to know.
Why?
I would just want. Well, what if you lose? What if they lose?
You just go out there and play. You don't have anything because because it's a win. It's a win-lose situation, Jeff. Because if Ohio State wins, they have everything to play for. If Michigan wins, look, as a coach, you hate to say it, but your season's done. What you'll be playing for is the seniors.
Sure.
You'll be playing for the seniors, and you'll be playing to go out with a win. And they're on a nice little win streak now, so you try to carry that momentum. So I would want my team to know personally.
I guess I'll wait on that one before I know.
Remember years ago you were at the
yes,
game, the Dallas game where they had Eagles had everything break for them. They were watching the scores. And they knew what they had to do. All they had to do was beat the Cowboys, and they were in the playoffs. The same situation here with Penn State.
44-6 game. Yep. The Iron Bowl, Alabama laying 17 to Auburn. I think Alabama hammers Auburn this week. Auburn, Sean White's been injured. You got to think Alabama rolls in that one.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go out on a limb tonight. I've had a hunch over the last.
You think Auburn's going to win?
No. I'm saying this. I have a feeling over the last 24 hours. I don't think Alabama is going to win the national championship. I have a weird feeling. I don't think they will. Something tells me I don't think Alabama is going to win the national championship.
They're actually.
I'm not going to say who's going to win it.
Who do you think's going to win?
I don't think Alabama is going to win it. Jeff, I don't know because I think the parity this year with college football is fantastic. I mean, you look at Alabama. I mean, is there a win on their schedule that gets you excited?
Is there a win on Alabama?
And that's really kind of what really kind of has brought me to this. I actually stepped back and I looked at their schedule and I said, well, they hammered USC week 1. If they played USC tonight, it's a different ballgame, I believe. Mm-hmm. They played Texas A&M. Good win at home. Texas A&M kind of has shown their true colors over the last couple of weeks. So there you go on that one again. LSU, that's a good win. I mean, LSU isn't the team people thought they were going to be, but it's a road win and a night game. They win 10-0. Nothing really overly impressive, but I don't know. Something about Alabama. I got a hunch, man. Got a hunch.
Maybe they lose this week.
I don't know about that because I'm not a big Auburn guy, but
one other one. Yeah, we'll see. We definitely got a lot to talk about. We'll see. UCLA, Cal. I like Cal getting 3 at home against UCLA.
UCLA, right?
UCLA. I think Cal's going to play for this one. Davis Webb, final game. I mean, he's a senior.
Yeah.
They're not going bowling. I think Cal kind of beats up on UCLA. UCLA's kind of beat up on them. Kind of been the bigger brother in California. I think Cal kind of has a concerted effort. But remember, Cal defensively is a total fucking mess. So
right.
Who knows? But that'll be it, guys, for tonight as far as our college football plays. Texas -3 and SMU Navy over 70 for me. Ryan likes Washington State +6 and Pittsburgh Syracuse over 68.5. Ryan, last thing before we go, I watched War Dogs last night. We always check in on some movies that we've seen. Jonah Hill's in it. Bradley Cooper. I think you should watch it. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, it's a movie that I've wanted to check out. So it's nice that I know someone that has seen it.
It's based on a true story. It's really interesting. It's kind of about war and that kind of thing, and I think you'd be quite surprised at what happens.
Okay.
I'm not a Jonah Hill guy. I don't really like him, but he was really good.
I love Jonah Hill.
Okay.
I like Jonah Hill because he's shown that he can play a variety of roles. Kind of started his career out as a comedy actor, transition kind of when he did Wolf of Wall Street. And
he was actually pretty good in Wolf of Wall Street.
He was.
Too. But I don't know. I just found him kind of annoying in certain roles. Plus, he's on Howard Stern a lot, and he's kind of annoying. But I don't know. But yeah, check it out. I think you'll like it.
Yep.
The kid in the other kid in the movie is really good also. And there's a lot of Albania references. They talk about Albania a lot.
No wonder you watched it.
Well, they go to Albania in the movie. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I think you'll like it. Also, before we go, guys, there is an impersonator on Twitter pretending to be me. It is not me. Okay, so if you see the guy, just block him. Report it. I don't know what else to do with these people.
Yeah.
His name.
I don't either.
Yeah,
Ash, I want to give you a shout out too because I'm not going to get into it, but your activity on the chat box last night was spot on. So that's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But your activity on the chat box last night was spot on and much appreciated.
Shots fired from Ryan.
So
no, you're right. Ash's a good guy. He is a good. He's
guy.
A good basketball guy. He enjoys. He was on the Periscope I did earlier today. Yeah, Ash is a great guy, and we had him on the show. He's actually called in.
That's right.
Wire stuff.
I remember that. Yeah.
Dude. By the way, Ash, you've seen The Wire many times. Ryan gets. Do you know who I'm talking about, Ash? When we talk about that Principal Donnelly, she's that woman principal.
Kind of looks like a dyke.
Yeah, she's got like short hair, glasses. In season 4, she was kind of the main principal. She was involved pretty heavily in the show. Ryan thinks she's so funny.
She is. Look, because she's got that Baltimore accent a little bit, and she's just
she's a homegrown character.
She's kind of corny. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just think she's funny.
You think she's hilarious?
I just think she's funny.
Yeah, that's such a good show.
Anyway,
they really don't make shows like that anymore. But Ryan, Michigan went down today. Are they?
They did.
Do you think they're?
No, because actually, if you go in and look at the box scores, Jeff, they have one of the worst shooting nights I've seen a team have in quite some time. I mean, really. So,
yeah,
it's just kind of. I think it was kind of one of them games where, and Trey touched on Twitter. I think it was just a good spot, really, for South Carolina and Michigan kind of coming in, getting ranked, some big wins in the 2K Classic at Madison Square Garden. And they come out tonight and they kind of lay a goose egg. I don't think that's a representation of how they'll be all year. I mean, Zach Irvin had the worst game of his career. It just everything kind of snowballed tonight. But I don't think that's a representation of who they are.
I barely ever, Ryan, push out my service. I don't do it. I've had a tough year in college football, but I am really starting to gain steam in college basketball. I am really feeling it right now. Sean, he's 3-0 today. I'm about to go 2-0. Purdue looking to pull away here from Auburn. I got them -9. I'm just telling you guys, when you see me go, 17-5, don't be on the outside looking in. We're offering really good specials right now. Little Thanksgiving specials. And I'm going to take this time to tell everyone, this is what I do now. I don't have no more job. This is all me now. So I'm giving out that all to you guys. I'm dedicated to this now. This is my thing, Ryan.
Good luck.
Good luck. Well, thanks for the well wishes.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's a big step. So good luck.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But so yeah, c2csportsroom.com is where you can find me. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Ryan, what's your favorite thing about the meal? What's your favorite part of that? Your parents just make the normal.
I'll tell you what. There are
turkey
two things.
Is that correct?
I like turkey. Obviously, I like everything about it. Two things that stick out to me. I love green bean casserole, but the thing that I love, my mom makes this sweet potato stuff. It's like sweet potato with a brown sugar cinnamon almond top on it. Okay. Oh, it's.
You like it?
Oh, I swear to God, I eat half the pan. It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, tomorrow, obviously, everyone. enjoy the day and just sit back and just take it all in and just be happy and be thankful that you get to live the life you do, because I know I will tomorrow for sure.
I'm excited because my dad, he just finished. My dad made a movie room. You know how we have that extra room that we have, like at the end where like the big screen TV is and everything.
Yeah, I thought they.
No,
So
my dad totally redid everything. It's all black. It's a movie room. My dad bought a 14-foot screen.
Wow.
I'm pumped to watch on that. I want
There you go.
to. I want to see what it looks like. Like, imagine watching Scarface on that. That would be dope, wouldn't it?
There you go.
But yeah, I love all parts of the meal. It's always a good one. So should be a nice day.
Yep,
for sure. We got football on Friday. We will be back Sunday. That's the next day we'll be back. Sunday, breaking down NFL. Ryan, 6-5 last week. Another winning week in the NFL. I think that's 28-15 over the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
We've done really well.
Yep.
So come chat with us. We have Periscopes and stuff too. So feel free to interact with us. You can find Ryan on Twitter at DIA18. You can find me on Twitter, the only Twitter out there, JEFFNADU. I also have a client Twitter, C2C, the BMOC. Everyone have a great night. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. And we'll see you next time on the Big Men on Campus. Bye-bye.